Giles, welcome to the GROUPEX podcast, mate. It's good to see you again for the second time.
Kia ora. Great to be back, Tony.
Mate, I
Let's
think
go.
there's only a handful of you that I've actually invited on here twice. So I will say I'm honoured that you are back for a second time, but you must have done something right the first time in order for me to say, hey, mate, come on again and let's have another chat and let's see where we can go. So, yeah, man, welcome back again.
Thanks, mate. The honour is all mine. It was
Lovely.
such a great chat the first time. Thrilled to be back.
It was, and we did delve into GROUPEX management last time, but I think this time I want to try and delve into it even more and try and pick your brain of some good stuff and your expertise and your knowledge as well from the other side of the ditch over there. So for those that may have not watched the last episode, I'm going to say to them, stop, go watch it and come back. No, I'm not going to say that at all. I'm just going to say, hey, can you please introduce yourself to us? Let us know a little bit about you, who you are, where you're actually from, and what you're currently doing in the industry.
Cool. So yeah, kia ora, my name is Giles Bryant. I am from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm a group fitness manager here for Les Mills, New Zealand. I work in Dunedin, Otipoti, where I've been for the last 2 years. And prior to that, I spent the previous decade working for multiple Les Mills clubs in Auckland, in group fitness management, but also in gym floor management, and in several different clubs. And prior to that, I spent almost a decade in the UK working for the then Les Mills agent called FitPro as a national trainer and presenter of Les Mills products for them. And I've been a group fitness instructor for over 25 years now. It all gets a bit fuzzy when it's been that long. But yeah, a career in group fitness, you could definitely say. And it's sort of been around many different places. And I've had the privilege of working with many different presenters and agents just around the planet. Yeah, It's been a blessed existence.
Out of those 25 years, what would you say your highlight has been?
Oh, geez, mate. Testing the memory here. Okay.
I'll just play some music for you. That's thinking music.
The one highlight in those 25 years, Tony.
What's the thing that stands out the most out of everything you've done? Well, there's got to be something you go, you know what, that was that point.
Yeah, I mean, there's always recency bias in these sort of things. What I'll do is I'll key in on the most recent thing because it sits really, really large in the memory, but it's not for those people who might be watching this who I've worked with over the years. Please don't think I'm disparaging anything that we did.
Yep.
There were some very, very big moments. There were masterclass presentations for Les Mills International. There were big summits and events and super classes over in Europe and North America and all sorts of stuff. And those were huge events in my life and career at the time. The thing that I would highlight at the moment that has really been a professional milestone for me is here in Dunedin, we have relocated our Les Mills club from a very old facility that was based in essentially a turn of the 19th to 20th century warehouse, okay, not the 20th to 21st century warehouse, but 100 and something year old warehouse building, and we've relocated that facility, members and all, into a brand new $10 million plus New Zealand dollars, fair enough, okay, $10 million plus facility in the center of the city.
Wow.
And it was a mammoth undertaking by everybody who works for Les Mills across the whole of the country. Lots of people were involved, but that's a huge career highlight for me because we literally went from an operation group fitness wise that was running at less than 70 live classes a week to a group fitness operation running 100 live classes from one week to the next. And everything that goes behind that. We launched 2 brand new state-of-the-art products at the same time. And we trained dozens of instructors. We had thousands of new members. And we did it literally overnight. So that's huge landmark for us.
Yeah, that's huge. That is a massive undertaking to actually do all that as well as continue to operate and do. Wow, well done to you and the team, mate, for kicking that off and making it happen. I think that's well done. Huge.
Yeah, the big thing to be part of. Learned a huge amount about. Not just group fitness, we're here to talk about group fitness, but about club operations, and how you build the ship, make it go, keep it going, all of those things that that sit in the background that a lot of us, even who work in the industry, don't realize that if
Yes.
if these things don't happen, all of the fun stuff that we get to do in the studio just doesn't really matter because
Yeah.
the boat isn't going.
So
So yeah, it was really cool.
did you keep the same GroupEX timetable, or was it an opportunity to
No,
refresh and
yeah, it
do?
was kind of a complete reset. So we worked in collaboration with the National Group Fitness Manager and operations team to put together a brand new timetable for the new facility,
Yep.
um, and definitely something we can dig into a little bit more as we go along. Uh, Essentially, Dunedin is a student city.
Okay.
We have a population of somewhere between 130 and 140,000 people here. Of that, 20 to 25,000 are students, plus all of the staff that work
Wow.
around that university, right?
Yeah.
So you've got this huge. I could be off. Don't at me. Um, so we've got this huge population of people who are semi-permanent, but in a very very tight demographic. 18 to 23 is like the vast majority of those humans.
Yep.
Um, and those people, a lot of them want to exercise, right? That's when they're starting out their adult journey. They're starting out their journey in health, well-being, self-care, all those things. If you're a student at university, I don't want to belittle them, but it does
Yep.
feel like the biggest deal in the history of the world when you've got university papers to
Yep.
study, and then you finish university and you realize that that's just every day.
Yep.
Um,
Welcome to being an adult.
yeah, I know. I speak from experience. Like that was
Yep.
my experience as a university student. Was like, wow, this is so hard. And then I got a job, and I was like, oh wow, that was not so hard. But it's good preparation for life.
Yeah.
And those people, a lot of them want to join gyms. There is a university facility that's free, but it's free to all 25,000 of them. So it's one small gym, and it's free to all those people. It gets
Okay.
very very crowded.
Yep.
So we have now built this premium state of the art. You could argue there are things in there that there are more modern things. It was 12 months ago now, world moves on, but pretty up to date
Yeah.
facility that is really catering to where people want to be now. And
Yep.
it's so when we built this timetable for Group Fitness, we were thinking, how are we going to capture this market,
Yeah.
this future thinking market? Um, and so the products that we've put in there, we really really leant into the new. And I say new in scare quotes because I know some people will be like, "Hey, we were doing that years ago," and
Yeah.
I respect that. I do appreciate the fact that Les Mills International, Les Mills New Zealand, we're really great at iterating on ideas and concepts that have been created and really like refining and honing ideas and turning them into something that can be mass market successful. That's the genius of what Les Mills does.
Yep.
Oftentimes it's an idea that might have been floating around in the ether for a little while. So, we have this product called Ceremony.
Yep.
It definitely looks and feels a lot like products that have been out there in the market already for a few years now. But essentially, it's a station-based athletic workout format.
Yep. Yep.
We leant into that really hard, really hard. Built a whole room based just purely around that product.
Wow.
You can use it for other things, but it was built for
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
We built another room that was a cycle studio that you would love. You would love this room, mate. It's the immersive trip studio, but we've had everybody from Les Mills New Zealand down, and they've all said it's not necessarily the biggest room. It holds 46 bikes,
Yep.
but it is, as far as they're concerned, the best version that we've created so far of
Wow.
an immersive studio. It's the right depth front to back. It's got just
Yep.
the right amount of tiering and the bike, so everybody gets a perfect view without there being too much height. The screen it's like 14 meters across. This is an amazing screen.
Wow.
Um, you know, Perfect soundproofing, perfect acoustics,
Yep.
just brilliant
Nailed it.
experience.
Yeah. Yep.
And we've absolutely leaned into Les Mills Trip immersive
Yep.
cycling
Yep.
in that space. So I think two thirds of our classes in the cycle studio are Trip.
Wow. That's interesting to see because that's definitely not here.
Mm,
There are immersive studios, there is a trip happening, but not in what you've just described in that way. I don't think many of the studios in Aussie yet have landed there. The majority, nowhere near it. There's a couple that have gone and done it, but still having a few teething issues with sound or visuals and all that kind of stuff with the screen and stuff. But like that's impressive.
yeah, yeah, and I think like the thing that's really interesting about it, the thing that intrigues me the most about this is, yes, it's a big layout. Like we're talking in excess of $1 million to build a room like that.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
it's an expensive setup. But if you know your market,
Yeah.
and you know that your market is going to be the type of market that will be attracted to this. So you're thinking early adopters, you're thinking potentially if you want to demographic it, more Gen Z, millennial than other groups.
Yeah.
But definitely the sort of the kind of forward thinking. So your center city of, central Sydney,
Yep.
central Melbourne, London, New York, those kind of places, the places
Yep.
where people want to be on the new vibe,
Yep.
and you lean hard into that. Dunedin's weird because this is a end of the world city. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm,
Yep.
I'm not denigrating Dunedin. It's a lovely place. But we're at the bottom of the South Island of New Zealand,
Yep.
and there's 140,000 people there. It's not the place you would think would be the most forward-thinking
Yeah.
customer base.
Yep.
But because of the student audience that we have captive here, and because of their age demographic, they are cutting edge. Like they know new stuff before I knew new stuff. Like I've got my employees are mostly 20 to 25 years old. They're all always telling me new stuff, and I'm like, what even is that word?
Yeah.
You know, um,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
they are soaking this stuff up. The second that we showed them this new room, their eyes go wide and they're just like, oh, that's so bougie. you know,
What?
and you're like, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, that is a good. I'm pretty sure that's a good word.
Yeah.
That's a good word. You like it. You like it. Um, and
Wow.
the same thing with ceremony. That they
Yeah.
felt the same way about ceremony. This market group. They love it. It's weirdly enough, even though it's immersive and in the dark, it's pro-social.
Yep.
It's the sort of social environment that they really want to be part of because it's for them, it's low pressure. It doesn't force them into that awkward eye contact that
Yeah.
their age group is a little bit uncomfortable with,
Yep.
but it allows them to be engaged with. The same thing with ceremony. It doesn't force them into a classic group fitness environment, but it allows them to be in a group and they can bring their besties with them to train.
Yep. Yep.
And they've really, really gone into that. And I think that's something that group fitness managers and club managers can really look at is like, if it's the right scenario
Yeah.
for you, yes, it's a really big outlay.
Yep.
And not necessarily every gym chain or every business is going to go, that's the kind of outlay that works for my business model.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you are in that kind of a business model, our results are astonishing. So, and my boss has told me that he's not making any big particular secret about this. So our club had somewhere in the vicinity of 2,500 members in the middle of 2023.
Yep.
In the middle of 2024, we went past 4,000 members.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
from, we started selling memberships for the new club at the beginning of October last year.
And you are down the bottom of the South Island in an area that you would say, is it a lower socioeconomic area or is it?
It's very mixed. It's
Yep.
it's your classic all ranges. So
Yep.
you've got all different things. But I mean, a conservative, you could
Yep.
absolutely describe it as a conservative city, a frugal city, perhaps in certain parts. But
Sure.
because of this particular audience of
Yeah.
students who have, even though they're not necessarily affluent by classic description,
Yep.
high disposable income.
Yep. Yep.
And they choose where they're going to spend their money.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, you would have said students, all they do is spend money on beer.
Yeah. I remember
They've
those
changed.
days.
Like our experience, that's what happened, but
Yeah.
they've changed.
Yeah.
18 to 23-year-olds now, yeah, okay, I'm sure they still party really hard, absolutely true. But now there's so many of them are thinking about, well, what's the balance to that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where is my well-being coming from this? Because they live in a much more information dense age
Yep.
where they're able to access all this knowledge about how to look after yourself better,
Yeah.
and they're so keen on that when you present them with these opportunities, you present them with a gym. Our gym is really leaning into that health well-being space
Yep.
and saying, okay, do you want to really build your fitness? Cool, we have exercise opportunities for that. Do you want to work on your mental health? We have exercise opportunities for that. Do you want to sauna? We have exercise. We have a sauna for
Yep.
that.
Yep.
So we're leaning hard into that space, and
Yeah.
in our group fitness timetabling, ceremony, trip. We can jump into a few other things as well that have been really enlightening to me.
That's
We're
all.
we're bringing that to them. we're bringing those opportunities to them.
It's the thing that I'm picking up from there is you know your demographic. You've listened to your audience. You've captivated your audience, and you've gone, right. Okay, what do you want? What do you need? What are we going to be able to offer to keep you here and entice you here? But make sure that we're ticking every single one of your boxes through that journey, so that yes, we're the destination, but at the same time, we are that place where you're coming to go through your journey to get to whatever your own personal destination is. With that, it sounds like the as corny as this may sound to a lot of people probably watching this, I probably haven't seen a gym that you've described in Australia. Yeah, there may be one or two, maybe a handful tops that I'm aware of, as in people have said, oh, you need to get in there and have a look at this. But for that demographic, no, not here in Australia yet. And I'll say to anyone now that's watching or listening, if I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Please get in touch, show me. I would love to go and actually have a look at a venue like that here in Australia that ticks all those boxes that is doing that. So, mate, I thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you for sharing what you've sort of gone through and your key sort of main takeaway thing that has happened recently. I massively appreciate that. What I want to ask you, why did you get into being a GROUPEX manager? What was it that made you go, that? I want to do that.
You're going to hate this answer.
No. I want the honest answer.
No, the honest answer is I was minding my own business and someone called me. That's the honest answer about it.
Love it.
Yeah, very short anecdote. I had stepped away from being what we called a gym floor manager for Les Mills, Auckland City, and Britomart. And I think I've been away for like 5 or 6 months or something, and I was doing like full-time renovation, because in New Zealand, if you renovate houses, you can make good money.
Yep.
Well, you used to be able to. Not right now, but back in the mid 2010s.
Yep.
Anyway, so I was renovating a house, and we were like full on into that, painting a room. Got a phone call. It was the club manager for Les Mills Takapuna, and he said, very direct guy. He said, "Hey Giles, so and so, the group fitness manager here, says that you would be the best candidate to become the next group fitness manager. He's buggering off to the USA. Do you want to come in and interview for the job?"
I love direct calls.
Wiping the paint off my forehead. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's do that. That's literally how that worked. But obviously, that was the type of job that I was in the market for at that time. Those jobs did not turn over very often. In the 2000s and early 2010s. They were jobs that definitely had a long tenure.
Yes.
So finding a role like that within Les Mills New Zealand was difficult at that time.
Yep.
And so it was definitely very fortuitous. I was really, really happy to get given that opportunity to interview for, and then ultimately be successful to get into that job.
Yeah. I love it. It wasn't a tap on the shoulder. It was a phone call. Oi, you listening? I need you to come in for an interview. You keen? Yeah, sweet, good. See you soon. Yeah. Brilliant.
A little bit like that. A little bit like that.
Yeah.
He wanted a few highly qualified candidates that he could pick from. And I was just one of the few people that he wanted to hear from at that time. So I wasn't actively looking for that role. It was something that had been on my radar for a period of time. And I think the big thing about that was when I did interview for the job, my career up to that point had really prepared me for that interview. So sometimes when you interview for jobs, it's kind of a bit of a stretch. You go in for the job, you're kind of like, I don't really know how to do this job yet, but I'm going to have a crack at it and I'll learn on the job. I'll learn if I get it. This job was, I sat in the interview and he started asking me questions, and I said, yeah, so what I would do is, bop, 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 bop. And I don't know what he thought about it. But I definitely walked out of that interview going, well, if he doesn't want me for the job, best of luck to him, because I could do it with my eyes shut. I got lucky that he agreed with that point of view. And yeah, we had a really successful 5 years there.
This is the GROUPEX podcast.
The thing that I'm enjoying hearing about what you just said is you were true to yourself and you're honest. You were straight up and just went, right, you know what? Yep, you've approached me. I've come in for an interview. You're asking me these questions, and I'm not going to faff about. I'm going to give you a direct answer of what's in here. Yeah. And I think I say that with all respect to anybody that's ever been interviewed for a Group X manager's job, and they try and go above and beyond and try and make themselves sound and try and be all of that, we can see through your bullshit. Is the biggest thing I say to a lot of people when they interview, or when you've actually interviewed someone and you have that skill set up your sleeve, when you're sitting down talking to someone, you can tell when they're stretching it. Yeah, cool. You can understand a bit of it going, you know what? Yeah, I believe you, and I want to see you be able to implement that. But I want to make sure that you've got the skills to be able to come in and do it, not come in and be up here, because you're not up here yet. If you haven't done it before, we need to coach you through what you've got to do. You obviously have the skill set to be able to do what you did there for 5 years, and obviously what you're doing now as well. Is there one particular aspect of Group X management that ticks your box more than anything else?
Absolutely. It is recruiting, training, and developing group fitness instructors. Like, for me, the one thing that gets me absolutely buzzed, and it got me excited before I became a group fitness manager, when I was a mentor and a coach and a trainer at module trainings for Les Mills, was meeting these new instructors. And then in that space, I was able to do initial module training, but as a GFM, you're able to walk them through that whole journey, which
Yep.
is even more rewarding, right? So you find these new people and they come in and you just get a feeling, man. Like, when I see a new instructor who's an applicant, and I meet them and I engage with them and I ask them a few questions and I try to get a real sense of, who they are and what they are. You absolutely know
Yep.
from the first time you meet them, this person is going to be amazing. Like, you've got to train all the skills and all the details and all those kind of things.
Yep.
But you just know. You know when you're recruiting somebody who is going to take off, and it's so exciting. It is so, like, not everybody walks the entire journey from fresh recruit to legendary rock star who people are screaming about on social media and like, oh, come to my gym and teach me, and
Yep.
fly to Sweden and do this. No,
Yep.
not everybody does that whole journey together.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to. Some people, that's not the goal for them, and that's the beautiful part, is that they choose their journey. You're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
there to
Yep.
help them find what fits for them. But it is so exciting when you see someone with that potential and that motivation, and then you're able to impart knowledge and information to them, and you see that sponge that up, and then that's great. But even better is once you've done that and they've gone away and they've kind of got their basics, their ABCs locked down, and they've become really solid as an instructor, as you come back around to that, and then you start having those peer-to-peer dialogues where it's no longer I am teaching you stuff. Now I am coaching you and giving you, not even giving you stuff, I'm just asking you good questions.
Yeah.
And you're coming up with the answers for yourself. And you just see those light bulbs go on in people, and they start leveling up over and over again. And next thing you know, like, you're watching them on a Les Mills masterclass, just absolutely crushing the game.
Yep.
And I always feel bad about saying the word proud. Like, I'm so proud of that person, because I feel like that's not legitimate. Like, I have no right to be proud of them. I didn't do anything.
No, you
It's
did.
not me.
You
I
did.
know, but you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
No,
I didn't do the work.
totally.
I didn't
Yeah.
do the work for them.
Yep.
So I feel bad about you. But I do. I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like I earned the pride,
Yeah.
because it's not my
Yeah.
work that got you there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm proud of you anyway.
Yeah, but without your guidance, they wouldn't have been able to get there. So I'd say when you're saying it, it feels a bit foreign, and I agree with that, because when you say to someone, "Oh, I'm proud of you," I say it to mates, they've succeeded with something. "Oh, mate, I'm really proud of you," and it's weird because I didn't actually help them do it, but there's that sense inside of, you know what? Yeah, well done. Yeah, you did it. You put in the effort. You've actually gotten there, and you've done it yourself, which is brilliant. And the thing I will say on that is, I don't see that happening much here in Australia, and there will probably be people that gets the shits. There'll be Group X managers that'll be sitting on the doing the whole angry typing at me on the keyboard. Cool, whatever.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong,
No, it's great.
prove me
It's great
wrong.
if they are doing that. Like, I
Exactly.
understand what you're saying. Like, it's probably a broad observation rather than there's always going to be individuals who don't fit into that.
Yeah, but I think the point, my point with that is that a lot of Group X managers here don't have that skill set to be able to bring someone in, find someone, Yeah, cool. I'm going to mentor you. I'm going to bring you through this whole journey. Yeah, a lot of the GroupEX managers here now, whether it's because they don't have enough hours, they don't have enough skills, I can't pinpoint that, and it's probably not my position to actually go, yep, this is it. But that skill set isn't something that is really forefront of a lot of people here. If they find an instructor, yeah, cool, go off and do your training. Brilliant. Okay, can you teach? Yeah, cool, go for it. That's almost where it ends here. Yeah. I don't want to see that happen here anymore, which is part of the reason why I'm asking so many people to come on the show, so we can share those experiences as well, so that they can take a bit away from what you've just said to realize, hang on a second, I need to. Sorry, my screen just went completely blank then.
I'm still here.
Cool. Weird. It's really strange. So they can turn around and grab a bit of that information that they've just heard from you to go, okay, if I get a new person in, it doesn't just mean I send them off to training and then, yeah, sweet, away we go. I can actually hold their hand or work with them to project them through this whole journey in their first 30, 60, 90 days, whatever it may be, to make sure that they're not going to fail. They're not going to turn around and go, oh, that was crap, I'm not going to do that again. They need a mentor. They need someone to be able to help them through. Now, whether that's a GroupEX manager or whether that's another instructor, someone needs to be able to help them through that process. It sounds like from your experience, that's something that you do and do well, if it is something that you have a passion about as well and enjoy about the role. Can you, if you don't mind, can you talk a little bit more about that? Give us a little bit more in depth on that journey of what happens when you found someone in class, or whether there's some new recruit that's come through. Can you talk us through the process so that people can actually have a bit of an understanding on what happens or what they should be looking at in that process?
Yeah, totally. Just before I do, just to come back to what you just observed there about group fitness managers. So for me, the last 18 months, I've seen so little of that actual journey myself, being able to do it, which is why it was easy for me to answer the question, because it's been a frustration for me of the role in the last 18 months for me has been very much recruit new instructors, hand them off to a mentor in the club, and then just check in with those mentors and those instructors as they go along, because we're now at 46 instructors, and I want to say I've recruited about 30 people in the last 18 months
Wow.
in a small city, in a small club. So the support of, and you use the word mentors, and that's a great word, because I've got some fantastic mentors in this club who I have worked with and leaned on really heavily, and they've been amazing. And they've done most of the heavy lifting in Dunedin for the last 18 months. I've had such little opportunity to do that myself because I've been so busy facilitating it for other people.
Yep.
And I think that's a really good point you make. Group fitness managers, we don't necessarily have to be the person doing the facilitating of mentoring and coaching. We could be the person who's making those connections
Yeah. Yes.
and being the support, being the glue that holds it all together, and just checking in, just being that smiling face who's like, hey, I've got your back.
Yep.
All the time.
Yep.
Now, the question you asked was about the journey, right?
Yeah. So let me, before we're going to go there, but I want to ask a question that leads into that. How do you find new instructors? Because here at the moment, it's the number one issue that I'm finding. There's no one else going through training, or it's the same instructors doing training. We're losing trainings, we're losing instructors. And a lot of it has been since the pandemic, since coming back into it. So we've been going for 3 or 4 years or whatever it's been now. I can't bloody remember when that was. Something I don't ever want to remember. It's a constant battle. Where do I find my next instructors from? Where do I, where am I meant to find them? Do I go out in the street and just go, oh, yeah, you interested? What do you guys do? What are you doing for your club over there?
It's a great question. I have thoughts. On this. I think the answer is going to be different depending on the situation that the club and the group fitness manager or club manager find themselves in. So for larger chains, what I actually think is those chains really need to look hard at where their clubs are and what their clubs look like in terms of demographics. If you're a chain that has multiple sites in one major urban center, look at your clubs and go, which clubs are best suited to recruitment? Which clubs have a ready supply of the sort of people who might want to become group fitness instructors? And which of your clubs it's just going to be throwing good money after bad because you're just not going to get a lot of good wins in that space and that physical geographical location. I think that's something that larger chains, larger businesses really should start looking at more carefully. Is like, intentionally funding recruitment where you think the low-hanging fruit is, and pushing more resources into those spaces, supporting, not treating it like each club is just on their own. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, group fitness manager.
Yep.
You are now a recruitment agent and an onboarder and a trainer all in one.
Yep.
And best of luck with that in your 10 hours a week.
Yes.
I think that you could get much more efficiency as a business, as a larger business, if you go, you know what, we're going to have one person who's in charge of recruitment for our group fitness across X number of sites in a region, and that person's going to work with the group fitness managers to find out where they should invest their resources and time to do that. And some clubs might be clubs that are like kindergartens. So Les Mills Dunedin, my club, is like a kindergarten. I'm lucky in that I work for a business that does fund group fitness management, and I have the time and the support from my mentors at Les Mills Dunedin to invest in this big recruitment process, because so many of the instructors who work for Les Mills New Zealand, and I want to just preface this, all of my fellow group fitness managers do a lot of recruitment. These guys aren't just feeding off of what we do here. They're working super hard themselves. But so many of the instructors who start in Dunedin, because they're students who often are not from here, they will then move on. And they'll go to one of our other urban centres and they'll teach. And even in 18 months, which is a short time, I have already had between 5 and 10, I want to say something like 8 of my instructors have moved to other cities and are currently working for other Les Mills gyms as group fitness instructors. Right, so that model can be really successful, I think. Now, if you're a small club, if you're an individual centre, you've got a much different problem. So how have I gone about recruitment? Two-pronged. If you have a big need, so if your need is both pressing and significant, then you should invest time, money, and effort into going out into your community and raising the awareness of that need in the community. So it could be online advertising, it could be using search engines like Seek or in New Zealand Trade Me Jobs, those sort of tools. It could be physically going to places in your community that might have people who would be interested. So, the classic examples of, going to the judo club, going to the dance school, going to all of these places and putting out posters or reaching out to the management of those places and saying, hey, could you reach out to your community and just let them know that we're recruiting? We ran a massive push like that in 23 in Dunedin. We did posters, we did online advertising, we went out to the community and put that information out there in the community, and we ran an information evening. I framed it up slightly differently based on consultation from the people that I already had in club around what is the right way to frame this for the demographic that I was looking to talk to. Because sometimes people of our age and demographic, the way that we would naturally intend to do things isn't the way that things need to be presented nowadays. So and open auditions, not a vibe for the kids. No, that's just intimidating. They don't want a bar of that kind of stuff anymore. That will just throw them right out. So an information evening where it's, hey, come along, find out about what we have to offer, find out what's in it for you, what would be expected of you if you did apply to become part of this group. Bringing the pressure level way down, the potential for social embarrassment down. All of those sort of things, like the barrier to entry becomes super low. We had 30-something people come to our information evening. It seems like a smallish sort of number, but in the context of our market and targets, that was pretty successful for us. And from the back of that, I then had 25 applicants, and from the back of that, I wound up with 16 actual recruits. So the filter was pretty successful. In terms of what we needed at the time, we were more than happy with those numbers. And I think from those 16 recruits, I still have about 12.
This is the GROUPEX podcast.
If I can get this right in my head, and hopefully for those watching and listening as well. So places like the Cert 3, Cert 4 providers that people are going through, and over here, I'm assuming it's the same over there. You still need to do your Cert 3, Cert 4 in fitness in order to get into the industry. Cert 3 more than Cert 4, Cert 3 and the GROUPEX module part of in order to do stuff here, or you can do GEL, which is the GROUPEX leader course that's here. But getting out there, and I think that's probably the I'm not going to say the hardest, is probably the biggest challenge for a lot of GROUPEX managers to actually have that time to get out and knowing where to go. I think it's the, as you said, the dance studios, the jiu-jitsu places, judo places, whatever it may be, that type of stuff. I mean, they have a big captive audience in their center anyway, whether it's the guys on the gym floor lifting weights that, guys, have you ever thought about pump? Have you ever done it? Yeah, it's a completely different workout, but still it's lifting weights. You may find something in there you want to do, but also in their studios as well. And I think that's where a lot of people have stopped fishing in that pond that is right there in front of them. Yeah.
Oh.
It's your biggest audience, your captive audience is there straight away. But I think
it's low-hanging fruit right there.
Yeah, I think that the thing you touched on then, which I really gelled in my head, was most GROUPEX managers are of our age or, close to our age. There's not many younger ones in. And as you said, what we would do is different to what the younger demographic are interested in. As in, if we were to try and hold an audition, they're not going to come along, as you said. If you hold an information night where they can come to actually find out info and there's no pressure for them to get up on stage or do anything, or there's no pressure for them to do anything apart from maybe participate in something to see if it's something they're interested in, that I think lands. And I think that can be done in a regional club where it's just an independent club. And it also can be done in a chain that has, multiple venues across one sort of area as well. I think GROUPEX managers need to start thinking a little bit outside the box on where they would normally go in order to find them. But they can find new instructors. Yep. We know that, especially here in Australia, there's not as many people training as what we used to have. And a lot of the younger demographic aren't coming through. A lot of the younger demographic, from what I'm hearing, are not, I don't want to train up in the program that mum and dad did. Yep. Because mum and dad have been to the gym and done it. I don't want to train in that program. I want to train in something new. I want to train in something different. So they're looking, and the new formats and new programs that are coming out from Les Mills, my understanding is that they are getting a few of the younger demographic coming in that are interested in doing that as well. But the programs, though, here in Australia, all that and I don't know whether that's the way that the clubs have marketed them or whether it's the way that Les Mills are marketing them. I'm not 100% sure. But they're not really attracting a younger demographic. All they're really doing is the older demographic are just doing to try something different. Yep. There's not much of it's not attracting a hell of a lot of that younger demographic coming in. There is a small amount, but most of them are still sitting on the gym floor.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's an elephant in the corner that we aren't talking about. And it's steady. It's social media.
Yep.
The elephant that we're not talking about is social media. And so when I talk about an information evening, the information evening is the end of the funnel, sort of. To get people to go to that, you need to get their attention first. So go out and reach out to the community groups, do the physical legwork. But you know what? You've got a device sitting in your hand that can reach the entire planet.
Yeah.
If you know how to use it properly.
Yep.
Now, I am not a social media expert. That is not my field. It is not my skill set. But I have a lot of people on my team who are very good at that sort of stuff, and I have a lot of colleagues who are very good at that. And what I see my colleagues doing is taking all of the things that we see on social media, all the memes, all the viral videos, the TikToks, all that sort of stuff, and they're just adapting what they've seen is trending for their audience in their market.
Yeah.
So you take a TikTok trend, you adapt it to your group fitness environment, your group fitness subject, and you put it out there. And it's a subset of that broader trend that will be interested in what you're doing. But that's what you're trying to. That's who you're trying to reach.
Yeah.
My colleague in Christchurch, the club manager Tavita, is incredible at this.
Yes.
He is our role model. Yeah, he's our role model for doing this sort of stuff. And what he's doing, and I don't actually know exactly what his intention is, but what he's doing to my eye, what I'm seeing him doing, is he is connecting with people in such a way that he is making what he has to offer look interesting,
Yes.
look fun,
Yep.
look, for want of a better word, cool.
Yep.
They probably wouldn't say cool, but he's making that look good, like something that you would want to be involved with. And it's all around, like mostly it's around group fitness actions, group fitness activities, group fitness things. You say, you mentioned like the kids don't want to do what their parents were doing. 100%. Like that's the trend that we've been seeing over the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Our biggest stars for Les Mills, Ben Main and Aaron Moore, Neemore, Ben Main and Aaron, they started this trend years and years and years ago. Like they started bringing in new products and new innovations that they were championing some time ago. And in Auckland City, you've seen that move forward. My club has come very late to this conversation.
Yep.
We were. I don't want to disrespect anyone because it was no one person's responsibility. But we were stuck in a very old model at our previous site. And to be honest, we didn't have the facility at that previous site to offer a lot of the cool stuff we're doing now.
Yeah.
We had this new club and this opportunity, and basically we just went, you know what? Let's just go for it.
Yeah.
We're just going to lean in to what the trends are saying is going to be huge or is already showing itself to be huge. Right, so I mentioned Trip, I mentioned Ceremony. Those were the first two products that were really big for us. They're Les Mills products. We're running almost 20 sessions of that Ceremony product a week in that studio. We have a capacity of 56. We have an average of 43.
Yep, decent.
So our room's running at 80% capacity.
Yeah.
I'm talking all times of day. I'm not just talking. We're not just running it at peak time. We're running it at peak time, off peak time, shoulder peak.
Yep.
Some of our busiest classes are at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Yep.
Trip, we can only hold 46 people in that room, and our average is 33.
Yep.
And again, peak, off peak, 15 sessions a week.
Yep.
We've lent into strength development. We're starting to expand into that space because it's basically gym floor activities in a group fitness studio. Average of that was 41. We only have 5 of them. 41 people in a studio that holds 60. Pilates, the new kid on the block.
Yeah. Just launched at
I say it's the new kid on the block.
Just on the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Pilates instructors across the world are rolling their eyes into another dimension, going, "Really? Tell me a story. Come on, you just discovered Pilates. Good for you." And absolute respect to them. Like, they have it's a fabulous exercise system. It does great things for the human body, and I really have a lot of respect for the practitioners that have been role modeling that for a long time. Les Mills is just entering the scene, and all we're trying to do, it's mat Pilates, it's no reformer activity, and we're simply simplifying this activity enough so that it can be delivered by instructors in our facilities at a safe level, at a base level. I need to be very clear about that because I know a lot of Pilates instructors will be like, you are not qualified for some of this stuff, and we are not. And we are not doing that stuff.
Yes.
We're doing the basic patterns, basic movements that we can safely and competently execute within our facility and our skill level. And it's taken off, exploded. The program Shapes, which is similar sort of movement patterns, but really more of a conditioning workout. Oh my goodness, we run out of equipment. We have enough equipment for 60 people in a room that holds 65 people, and there's almost fights over the equipment. Between those, how many programs are listed there? 4 or 5 different products. It's over 80% of our attendance a week.
So let me ask you a quick question on your demographic. Then you are in a predominantly that younger age bracket, as you say. Have you got any my age bracket? Let's just say a wide variety. Let's just say it's from 35 up to 55. Let's say we're sort of sitting in that 20-year bracket. Do you have many members that sit in that age bracket?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the real trick has been, how do you manage change? How do you manage a transition from a timetable that is dominated wholly by products and programs that appeal to a certain demographic group? And this isn't, what's important about this is we're not talking about the quality or validity of any workout over any other workout. That's really important. Body attack, great workout. Body combat, great workout. Body step, great workout. Okay, that it's not about the quality of the workout, and it's not about the quality of the instruction, programming, anything at all. It's simply a recognition of trends in the industry
Yep.
and just acknowledging that there are trends in the industry right now that are leaning towards these different types of exercise, towards Pilates, towards strength training, towards immersive fitness and like circuit style training
Yep.
type of workouts.
Yep.
That's just, life is cyclical.
Yes.
I'm sure that
Yeah.
martial arts style training will come back around and be
Yeah.
dominant again, although body combat's doing perfectly well in New Zealand.
Yep.
But we're moving away from that. And so the audience for that is an aging demographic. And in some gyms, that might be your biggest customer base, in which case, lean into it.
Yeah.
like you need to know who your audience is. If you're
Yeah.
sitting watching this and you're like, yeah, Giles, but I don't have a lot of 18 to 23-year-old customers, I'd be like, cool. Do you want 18 to 23-year-old customers? And
Yeah.
if your answer is no, not really,
Yep.
ignore.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
good.
No,
Stick with what you've got.
I remember when I was working for Les Mills Canberra way back in the day, that was a conversation that a lot of clubs would have with me. Is that, Tony, we don't have those members. Why would we put on these new programs? And my response to that always was, the members you have are starting to get older. Yeah. And let's be realistic, one day they will fall off the perch. They will stop coming. What are you doing about trying to attract new members coming in? Now, at that point, and still now, I will say it today, you don't need to change your entire timetable to piss off these members that have been coming forever. But what you need to do is start to educate these guys. Hey, there are new formats coming in. There are new programs coming in. We want you to give them a try. Don't stop going to the ones you love. Don't stop. And we're not going to change the timetable to put all of this new stuff on. But we need to start adapting, and we need to start bringing in some of these new programs, these new formats, to attract the next generation of members if we want to be around in 10 years' time. Yep. You need to find that fine balance of both to attract, and there may be, you put on these brand new programs, the oldies don't want to do them, and that's fine. Completely fine. But you've got to find a space in your timetable for the new ones to attract new people coming through. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind. Completely left behind. 5 years time, 10 years time, you're going to notice that you guys are lucky where you are with 4,000 members, but a lot of the clubs here, I think, you'd be struggling to have 1,000 to 2,000 members. A lot of the independents, especially, that those numbers are going to start to dwindle unless they act now to start implementing change and start looking at what the younger demographic want.
Yeah. And there are products in there that are going to appeal to both.
Yes.
I would challenge anyone to tell me that Pilates is a youth-oriented product.
Yep.
That product, that is an everybody product.
Yeah.
And it's simply a case of engaging with your current members and identifying and connecting with potential members to sell that. To be like, hey, we've got this fantastic thing. You might not have heard about it. It's called Pilates.
You've been living under a rock,
right? Ta-da! And connecting those people and bringing them in, because as you asked, as you inquired, do you have these older members? Yes, we absolutely do, and some of them have pushed back hard against the transition, which was underway before I started. My predecessor had already begun this evolutionary journey, and I just happen to be the one that gets to finish that transition. And they've pushed back hard against us reducing the number of classes in what we would call the Les Mills classic products, because we only offer the Les Mills products in our clubs, and really leaning into the new stuff. But when we communicate with them and we talk about, okay, well, what are your actual needs?
Yeah.
What is it you actually want from your workouts and your exercise? And they tell you, and you go, well, give that a go.
Yep.
Okay, what about this one? This thing over here would suit you. I have so many of our older members, because I typically teach mostly during the day, which is different demographics, and so many of them, and olders. I don't want to imply older. Not coming in mobility assistance. But so many of the members who are not in 18 to 25. Okay, so anybody who's 30 plus, right? And they're coming up to me going, strength development's a revelation, isn't it? This is great. I mean, I liked body pump, but sometimes the tempos were a little bit quick, and I can do this at any speed I feel like. Oh, it's brilliant.
Yep.
Whose idea was this? And I'm like, well, it's been around for a little while, but I'm glad that you're enjoying it now. and that's starting to cotton on with people. They're starting to engage with it. The same thing with Pilates. Oh, this Pilates business is great for my core strength and mobility, and I'm really loving it. Um, we changed over the timetable at 9:30 in the morning, which any group fitness manager worth their salt will know is one of those times of day where you literally take your life in your hands if you change the timetable, because
Yep.
those members will
Yep.
destroy you.
They will line up
in
outside your office and wait to have a
everything
one-on-one
you hold
conversation.
dear will be torn from
Yep.
you.
Yep.
And so we actually had a timetable change that was kind of forced on us because we lacked the resource to continue to provide a certain type of class.
Yep.
And we got so much pushback. Like, the members were very upset with us, and part of that was a communication failure on our part. But when we did get that communication across and we were able to get it across to the members, and we replaced that class with a cycle class.
Yep.
And it took a little while, but once they kind of started to wander in there and hop on the bike in the back row and ride along, and they're, this is great.
Yep.
Look at this, 40 minutes, and I've just gone off to Italy, and then I did a bit of a spin around the moon, and the next thing you know, I was in some land underneath the sun, and it was great. And they keep coming up to you going, that trip, you need to keep that trip class on, don't go changing the trip class. It's fabulous.
The thing that I enjoy about that is communication, having a conversation with your members. Yeah. Don't be afraid to change something, but also don't be afraid. What you need to do is make sure that you are communicating why the change is happening, why you are putting in what you're, and expect feedback, expect people to get the shit, because no one likes change. No one likes change. I'm yet to find someone that enjoys a bit of change, but let's say no, even if you've got 4 or 5, sit down with them, have a conversation. And as you said, as you alluded to, why are you here? What do you want to train? What are you trying to achieve when you're training? And understand your offering so that you can guide that person into somewhere else. Because you also said then, they become one of your best advocates. If you have someone that is so pissed off, that is pissed off enough to come and have a chat to you, come and have a chat and go, oi, I'm not happy with this, and they arc up, if you're able to calm them down, have the conversation, understand them, point them in the direction of something, your biggest advocate, if they're loud enough, they're also going to talk to a whole lot of other people, which you're going to get on side in a big way. Yeah, I would say to some GROUPEX managers, if you are about to change your timetable, invite all the regulars for a coffee, for a morning tea, or whatever it may be. If it's a 9:30 time slot, whatever it may be, yeah, ask them, sit down, have a chat to them, invite them in, tell them you've got some information you want to share with them, explain it to them so they don't just see the timetable next week and go, oh shit, my pump class is gone. You're now going to put on this strength development thing. What the hell? No one consulted me about this. Yeah, well, I'm going to leave now. Have the conversation. I would say that, because it's one thing I hate people throwing out feedback. I'm always in two minds about feedback, and always have been from the day that I stepped foot into the industry, because I saw it be done so badly, but then I've also seen it be done so well. Yeah, where badly in that you've asked all these questions and you go and change absolutely everything from the people that screamed the loudest. Yeah. You forgot about all the other members that just didn't get an opportunity, or weren't in that week, or weren't in for those 2 weeks, or whatever it may be. You didn't put something in. But make sure that no matter what you do, communicate the change. Key.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Preach.
Yeah.
This is the GROUPEX podcast.
Now, we got off a bit topic there, but I want to head back to recruiting. And you've got someone in, you found someone out there in the club or wherever it may be. Do Les Mills, do you guys pay for their training, their module training? Do they have to pay for their own module training? What is that journey like for you? And can you give us a bit of a rundown on how you guys do things, to give people an example on what happens in case it's different to what we're doing here?
Yeah. Some of the things you mentioned earlier just woke me up to the fact that I should know this because I did work in the UK for a long time. So the process in New Zealand is quite different. We're a very small market. Les Mills being a very big player in that market. We've actually gone out to the education authorities in New Zealand and worked with them to ensure that what we're providing from our Les Mills qualifications, like the Les Mills module trainings and the way that we train, and then also the way we assess that training, after the fact meets the standards and requirements within New Zealand. So Les Mills is in the really fortunate position in New Zealand of being able to offer its module training products for its group fitness classes as a one-stop shop for brand new people to the industry. Whereas I understand that, like in Australia, someone actually needs to do an ETM qualification, right?
Yep.
You can't just do a Les Mills course and be like, good, I'm good.
Yeah, you're ready to rock and roll. Yep.
Yeah, and so, it's a little bit of a wrinkle for group fitness managers in Australia, but I would still encourage them to take that on board and be like, look, if I really want this talent, I will find a way for that talent to access that education and get that qualification,
Yep.
rather than be like, oh, I'm only going to go and recruit people who've already somehow magically found the ETM course and put themselves through it and done that. Like, you're really limiting yourself. There are ways and means that resources can be applied to help you get across that line.
Yeah.
And it could just be like, hey, look, this is how it all works. I'm going to teach you all how it works. I'm going to give you all the links. I'm going to show you all the places. Maybe I'll subsidize your training for you. And you're going to go here and do this, and then we'll come back and we'll regroup. In New Zealand, I'll recruit. Once I've recruited, I'll explain to them how that process works. We have produced a PDF booklet that basically goes through every step, 1 to 10, of how you become a Les Mills group fitness instructor. It talks about the journey from go to woe of how you do that. So it's literally a PDF, and then I'll sit down with that person after I've given them the PDF document and say, you have a read? They go, yep. I go, cool. What questions do we have? What do we need to chat about to make sure you know exactly what's entailed? We go, yep, cool. Okay, yes, I do want to become a group fitness instructor for Les Mills Giles. Excellent. Love it. We would sign that person. We've actually created a training agreement contract for Les Mills.
Sweet.
So many of our potential instructors are already members. In which case we would pause their membership, potentially permanently, and we'd sign them to a brand new contract as a trainee. And they'll pay us a set amount of money every week, which is basically within kiwi of what they're paying as a member already.
Okay. Yep.
And they'll pay that for a set amount of time. In most cases, it's 52 weeks. We've just divided it over a year to make it easy. And that money will pay for everything that goes
clever.
into becoming an instructor.
That's very clever.
Don't give me credit. It was somebody else that came up with that. But yeah, they did come up with that, and it was a really, really great idea, and I just implement it. And it makes it so much easier because there's no one big outlay that they have to put out. There's no $500 to go to a course. We book them on the course. We pay for the course, and we recoup that cost from those 52 weeks worth of small payments. We buy their headset microphone, and then we recoup the cost. We sign them up for the Register of Exercise Professionals, and we recoup that cost. We put them through a first aid course if that's required, and recoup that cost. So everything. We pay for their first year's worth of Les Mills materials. So those 4 releases that they need for the first year, it's all included in that fee.
Because not only that, for a venue that's actually doing that, it's a tax write-off. It's a tax deduction for the venue if they're actually putting people through training, whatever it may be. So they're paying, the instructor is paying it off over 52 weeks, whatever it may be, the monthly 12 months, however they set that up. They're still accessing the gym, so they're still getting gym membership to come through and be able to train and do whatever they wanted while they're being mentored, while they're actually learning on the job. If they're clever enough, so instructors obviously can get paid too, right?
Oh, that's exactly what happens, because it very rarely takes a whole 12-month period to complete your training to be a group fitness instructor. Normally, it's 3 to 5 months, maybe, kind of period of time, like the Les Mills processes anyway. From the day you sign that contract to the day that you probably have signed a contract for services, where you're actually getting paid to deliver classes.
So as soon as you're starting to be paid
it's like
for
Afterpay
classes, you'll be paying off your membership straight away anyway with what you're actually earning. So you're in there, and that's clever, really clever.
It's proven a really good way around the biggest barrier to getting people to actually undertake it, because we don't pay for their training. It's just not something that we can budget for. We don't have the money for that. So how do we get around the problem of Hey, do you want to be a group fitness instructor? Yeah, cool, super, awesome. That'll be $500, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I'm hiring you and you pay me a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
What?
No,
Wait, what?
it's very clever. I think that gyms need to understand that, and I would say hit pause, rewind, play it again to actually understand what we've just spoken about again, and keep doing that until they've actually got it and it made sense in their head. If they don't get it, reach out to me, and then I can get them in contact with you as well to have that conversation, because I think there's something in that is very beneficial for clubs here in Australia, not only here in Australia, but anywhere worldwide, that makes sense. It really does make sense as a way to actually find your instructors, getting them in to actually have them paid off. Because as we know, $749 or whatever it is just to do a Les Mills module, then whatever else it is that they've got to go and do for Cert 3, Cert 4, or the gel component as well, that's a large outlay of money. If the venue is
Right.
willing to be able to pay that up front and then have that person paid off to them while they're then starting to be an instructor and getting paid to be an instructor as well, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you've highlighted some taxation stuff, but the thing that I want to really emphasize for anybody watching from a management point of view is this is a cost neutral exercise for
Yeah.
us as a business. I mean, yeah, okay, memberships cost money, but really, you can give a few memberships away and it doesn't really affect your bottom line.
Yeah.
And plus you want these potential employees in your business doing exercise, getting good at it.
Yeah. Most instructors here get free membership anyway. Most instructors here have a free membership. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know many.
you want them doing that.
Yeah,
You
I
want
don't
them
know
in
many
there.
that actually use the gym, but they still get a free access. Some of them will use the
Exactly.
gym, but that's a way to actually transfer. You have been paying. You've only got to pay for another year. You can be paying it off slowly. You were used to paying that anyway. You're going to be able to make money. The only issue that I see with that here in Australia is that a venue, if it's an independent club that has actually done that and paid for that instructor, but yet that instructor then goes to also teach at another venue. Yeah, that could be
Sure.
the only downfall, but I would say that put
Yeah.
something in part of your contract or your agreement with them where up until whether it's 9 months or whatever, they can only work for you. They can't go and work somewhere else if you are going to be paying for their training up front and they are going to be paying it off with that. Even if they are paying it off, it doesn't matter. They can teach wherever they want in order to get more money to pay it off quicker. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
There's
you
so
can
many
put that
different.
kind of stuff in. My personal philosophy on that is like, just be such a good place to work that they don't want to leave.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If your trainee who was so excited that they wanted to come and teach group fitness with you, before 1 year has ended, has decided, yeah, nah, thanks very much, I don't want to work here anymore.
Yeah.
I would look hard and there's reasons, like, hang on,
Yeah.
Giles, like, if you move away, you get another job, like, things
100%.
happen in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
if nothing else has changed, but that person's just gone, yeah, nah, see you later,
Yeah.
I'd take that as a big red flag.
Yeah. There's
It's like
something. Yes.
something's off.
Yeah. Take a look
It
internally.
might not be me, but I need to interrogate this really carefully. Like,
Yeah.
I would chase that person down and be like, what did we do wrong
Yeah.
that we lost you so early?
Yeah. Again,
What can we
communicating.
change?
Yeah.
What can we change for the next trainee?
Yeah.
Because I respect the fact that you've made a decision. I'm not going to fight you on it.
Yeah.
But what can I do for the next trainee to make their experience better so that they don't want to leave? Because like as you say, they can go anywhere, but it's still cost neutral.
Yeah.
Like they've signed a contract. It's a contract. If they don't pay the contract, it's then the debt collection.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're never going to be out of pocket for
Yeah.
this. You might be out of energy and resources, and that happened to me last year. I had a couple of people with the best will in the world. They signed up, they did the training, they did their part, they did the work. They got to the end of the year, and then they came to me and said, Giles, I'm really sorry, but I didn't get into the second year of the course that I was in. So they were a medical sciences student, and it's competitive. You have to get the grades, and if you don't get the grades, you don't get to come back. And they're like, I didn't get into next year. I can't come back to Dunedin next year. I'm going to another university to do a different course. And I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah.
We did so much good work together, but what can you do about it?
Yeah. There's always going to be circumstances that are beyond our control.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
And
most of the time not. Most of the time it's just, it's again having the conversation, setting it down and making it clear, explaining it properly to everybody. I think what you've tapped on there to me is probably the easiest way to be able to engage someone who's shown a bit of interest to want to be a Group X instructor? Because how many of them that are brand new, if they're coming into the industry or they're doing a career change, have, I've got a lazy 2000 up my sleeve. Yeah, let's go do this. No one. No one that I know has a lazy $2,000 to throw it in a course or something like that. They're going, yeah, cool. I might do that today. No one. I think it's, that process that you went through then, I think is spot on. What happens next? They've come through, let's say they've come through, you found them, signed them up, they've gone and done training. What happens then? Because what I'm hearing over here in most cases, yeah, cool. You've gone to training, brilliant, off you go. They don't get mentored. They don't. There's unless there's a venue that is really spot on and they're firing, and I say this phrase all the time, firing on all cylinders, and it's pumping. Yeah, you might see it, but in most cases, no, because they don't have the resources to actually have someone mentor. Or a lot of the people that have been around, that are instructors that have been around for a while, I want to be paid for me to mentor that person. I'm not going to do it for free. Yeah, gone are the days like when I first jumped into the industry, the tap on the shoulder and hey Tony, come and team teach with me. We'll get through all this. Team teaching, everyone wants to be paid. No, well, if I'm going to be up on stage with them, I want pay. Those that giving a shit about the next generation coming through for our industry, something happened somewhere along the way where a whole group of instructors are now like, nope.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack with that. Okay, so we have a wraparound set up for Les Mills New Zealand. Now the resource outlay was upfront. So head office put together the entire package. They worked through booklets and a process where you have 4 to 6 weeks prior to the module, and we have a weekly step-by-step journey prior to module training.
Yep.
And then 10 weeks post-module training, week by week. It's week 1, do this. Week 2, do this. Week 3, do this.
Yes.
Through to week 10 where you do your assessment. And that is for the trainee and for the mentor. So the mentor can literally look in that booklet week to week and go,
no,
all right, it's week 5. This is what we're supposed to do.
This
is our focus for week 5.
Yep.
And I mean, week 5 is like a piece of, elastic. It could be week 4 or week 6. It doesn't have to be exact. Life changes.
Yep.
But you know what I mean? Like, it just makes it step by step through the journey from before the module to after the module to the certification. No one's having to invent and build the plane as they go along anymore. So our mentors are just doing this as we go through the journey, and we're still working on it. Like, it's not perfect.
Yep.
I'm not suggesting that we're masters of the universe yet on this sort of stuff. We're working it out, and we're getting better. Each time we do it, we iterate and we get a little bit better at doing it for the next trainee that comes through.
Yeah.
And that makes it easier for everybody involved, from the group fitness manager to the mentor. And the second part, coming back to that training agreement, we have built in a certain amount of that training agreement money as mentoring funding.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a certain amount of that as mentoring funding. And how I distribute that mentoring funding depends on the particulars of the situation. So sometimes I might need one-to-one tuition for, let's say, for example, a body combat program where the technique is everything.
Yeah.
Right. And you will need to spend time outside of class mentoring the trainee on being good at technique. And the mentor is going to get paid for that time, that specific funding, and they invoice us for that time, and they get paid for that time as individual sessions, right? Or some of that funding for some of those programs, I can hold that funding as a block, and then I can apply it. I can either do bulk payments to the mentor and say, hey, mentor, you're doing great work with these trainees. Thank you very much. Please invoice me this amount of money for your time.
Yep.
For the time that you've spent outside of classes to mentor. Or, hey, you've been mentoring really great, or I'm asking you to mentor. Here is an increase to the amount of money that you're going to invoice us for every class, and is contingent to that increase in money that you're being paid for every class is an understanding, and we might put it in writing, that you are a mentor, and I will be from time to time assigning somebody to you to be mentored. That is part of why I am paying you this amount of money for your services from now on. And sometimes, like, you might go 3 months without a single trainee, 6 months.
Yep.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
Right. You might go XYZ without a trainee. You're still getting paid that amount. That amount.
Yep.
Okay. But when I have a trainee for you, this is what it's for. and so we kind of go through that sort of thing. But to be honest, in our club, in our system, the mentors are just stoked that they have something interesting to do. They just really enjoy it, and they get it. They get that we're a closed loop. I have nobody else to call on. There is no one coming to our rescue if we can't find an instructor. So the people who are training the new instructors, they get it. I am training the person who will cover for me when I go on holiday. I'm covering training the person who will cover my illnesses,
Yeah.
the times that I can't be here.
Yeah.
If I don't do this, that's a problem for me in the future.
Yeah.
So, we have a value within our business called be supportive. This is literally what that means is let's be supportive. We're fostering growth. It is not a zero-sum equation. It is not you or me doing this work. It is us.
Yeah. That whole
You know?
process is foreign to me. Yeah. That I've never seen that before. But what you've just explained takes care of it from beginning to end. Hey, yeah, you're interested in doing this. The total cost you pay is going to get you trained, is going to get you mentored, it's going to give you the tools, as you said, the head, the mics, and all that kind of stuff, everything that you need to be an instructor for us and go forth and do it, as well as we said, the mentoring of that 30, 60, 90, whatever, how long that period is, but also for paying for someone to be a mentor. That's bloody gold. That is brilliant. That I've not heard of that here at all. I think clubs need to jump on that and start to, look at what they're doing in that space and introduce their own style of that. That is absolute perfect, because there's no way that can fail unless your mentor leaves, but then surely you're going to have another mentor there. But if your mentor knows that they're going to be paid to be helping someone out, brilliant. That ticks our boxes, because you know what? All our mentors want to be paid. But if also that person that's coming through that's gone and done the training feels that, oh, great, I haven't been left alone. They're not just left on their own devices. Yep, cool, go for it. Good luck with that. If they're getting someone to help them through. Mate, if that was around when I did my training back in 2003, I would have loved it. Yeah, I was lucky that I had some mentors that were trainers and presenters in the industry anyway, that were grateful, that wanted to actually help me through because they wanted to see new people come through, and I was so grateful for it. But even to have that whole process, something that I didn't have to go and outlay $2,500 or $3,000 or whatever it was to do my Cert 3, Cert 4 and my training, would have been amazing to go, yeah, cool. You mean I can pay this off over 12 months? You're going to help me through this whole process? You're going to
See,
hold my hand
now
and
I
make
hope
sure I
that
don't
new
fail?
instructors watch this podcast.
Mate,
I want them to hear what you just said. I want all new instructors to hear what you have just said.
that's going to be my soundbite. We'll use that and spread that everywhere. That's, oh God.
This is the classic. When I was a kid, I had to walk uphill both ways to school, and it was snowing, and I had to
Yeah.
do it barefoot. This
Yeah.
is the classic when I was a
100%.
boy kind of.
Yeah, mate, I got frostbite and gangrene in my toes just because.
Yeah. But this is the legit
Yeah,
true version of that story where it's like, no, you don't understand. Like people coming in now, especially into Les Mills in New Zealand, coming into that environment now, like I'm not asking people to fall down at their feet and be like, oh, I'm so grateful for the process that you guys are doing, but also just be aware of like this is actually really good
yeah,
for our industry. This is working really, really well. Let us know how we can iterate on it and how we can move forward. But like, look around, look around at other countries, other markets, other gyms, other things, and be like, actually, this is pretty sweet.
yeah.
You know,
Wow. Yeah,
because
mate, you've
group fitness.
seriously, you've blown my head with that last bit that you were just saying. That yeah,
Yeah. Well, full credit goes to Les Mills New Zealand National Office. It goes to the National Group Fitness Manager Talvaga Ciolo, who worked with Ish Shane
Yep.
to build that. You know, they built that model, and obviously in collaboration with a bunch of other people who I'm not aware of, but those
Yeah.
were the two people who were responsible for coming up with it. So don't be going, Giles Bryan came up with this great idea.
Yeah.
I'm the person that's implemented
Sharing
it
it.
in Dunedin,
Yeah.
and I'm sharing it with you, and it's a great system. I mean, we didn't just design the wheel here.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're not the first people in the world to think of doing something like this.
Yeah.
maybe not even in this context.
Yep.
I know it's been done elsewhere in other industries and other jobs,
Yeah.
but we're just applying it to our need case for Les Mills New Zealand. Yes, we have quite a closed loop. Yes, we have a small market. Maybe the specific details of how we do it don't work for you
Yep.
in your use case, but the principle, the
Yeah.
concept here of lowering the barriers, spreading the cost, meeting the needs of all the stakeholders involved so that you're overcoming those resistance points, those friction points,
Yeah.
and you're making a system that the group fitness manager doesn't have to generate the whole thing by themselves. They
Yeah.
don't have to invent it by themselves and design it by themselves. You've designed it. All they do is implement it, and you've also thought of the pain points that they're going to have along the way, so that that group fitness manager can then just get on with finding the people who will be part of their coalition
Yeah.
to do this stuff in their club, supporting those people. Hey, Les Mills New Zealand is literally in the process at the moment of designing the mentor training for those people who would do that mentoring,
Yep.
so that they have an enhanced set of skills to
Skills too.
implement and apply it.
Wow. Yeah.
Right, so we're doing that. We're on to the next step of that,
Yeah.
that particular process and journey, and the smart guys at Les Mills National Office are working on that right now.
Wow.
It just keeps iterating. It just keeps getting a little bit smoother.
Watch that space is all I've said. A lot of people watching and listening. That's yeah. But gang, reach out if you want more information. Reach out to me. I'll get you in contact with Giles, or reach out to Les Mills New Zealand head office and see if they're going to share. See if someone wants to talk to you about that kind of stuff. I'm sure that the more we can share this information, the more we can help each other out with all of that as well. Giles, I need to cut this one a little bit shorter because otherwise you and I could sit here for 8 or 9 hours for sure. I know that. I'm going to ask you straight up, will you come back on for another chat about more of this?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, talking about group fitness management, talking about the fitness industry and the ways in which we can manage for success for all the stakeholders, for the people who work in the industry, for the people who come to our clubs. This is what gets me up in the morning. This is what gets me fired up about.
And in that case, you will see Giles on here again and again and again. I'm not letting this man go. We'll be having more conversations. But mate, thank you for your time this afternoon for today. I've greatly appreciated everything you have shared with us. And mate, yeah, you'll be back on for sure.
Absolute pleasure. Ngā mihi nui. Thank you.